What do you have to say to the alleged victim? I know a lot of the conversation come up today.
In the middle of a criminal investigation, and I can't say anything.
Fox 35's Randi Hildreth has been on top of this story the past few weeks, and Randi, Hill spoke to you while she was leaving court today.
Yeah, she answered a couple questions about what's going through her mind, her message to the alleged victim, and her thought process moving forward. It is scary to think that people were inside of that laundromat at the time. I want to step out of the scene so you can see the damage behind me. We do know that 2 were transported to the hospital. One of those people who was transported in pretty serious condition. I want to point your attention to this crew that is gathered right in front of the laundromat. In the last 45 minutes, I've seen them with flashlights going inside of the building. Today, a grand jury agreed that there was enough evidence to connect Stephen Stearns to the murder of 13-year-old Maddie Soto. It's almost 2 months to the day that her body was found. I want to point your attention to the hours of this story, 7 a.m. until 10 p.m. That means Rahed Shahada was shot and killed less than an hour before he was set to get off and go home. And to be honest with you, Marlisa, I have not been able to stop thinking about this family and the pain that they are going through right now. Some good news is now Leesburg police believe they are closer to getting justice for this family because they know who they are looking for. My wingspan 5 feet. So the gator is double the size of my arm. So 10-foot gator, double the size of what you see. Thank you so much for waking up with us this morning. It's bright and early, but I imagine some people are already thinking about that Thanksgiving leftover plate that they plan to eat. It's 4 a.m. Listen, this is a safe space.
This time last week, we were saying like, oh, hurricane season. We're looking ahead to November. Nothing, too serious. But now, hurricane watch this morning. Allison mentioned Puerto Rico is dealing with significant damage this morning in the wake of Hurricane Fiona. I want you to take a look at just a few of the videos.
Developing now, one of the victims hurt in that mass shooting at a Seminole County nightclub. She's filing a lawsuit. She claims the venue and the promoter failed to provide adequate security. A 16-year-old was arrested for shooting at a crowd during a private party at the Cabana Live last weekend. Rakita Davis says the bullet went through her left ankle. Take a look at this damage. You see it right behind me. This is all that's left of Hugo Cafe Tropical. The Ocala restaurant was destroyed after an explosion Friday night. Fox's Doug Luzader is live in Washington, D.C. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. As you mentioned, I want to bring Governor DeSantis into the conversation. Do you think that this potentially speeds up his timeline for making any additional announcements, officially throwing his hat into the race? Welcome back. New details now. 2 teenagers from Florida caught on camera. You see it here, dumping trash in the ocean. They've turned themselves in. The video upset a lot of people and it went viral this week. FWC says the 15 and 16-year-olds surrendered to the Palm Beach Juvenile Detention Center. They face charges of pollution to cause harm, which is a 3rd-degree felony. We are following breaking news. SpaceX is preparing to send up a rocket from Cape Canaveral. The Falcon 9 will carry another batch of Starlink internet satellites into orbit. Let's go ahead and start listening now. 10 out of 10 for me. It's so beautiful to watch this. I think it's so special to see it at 4:30, dark and early in the morning, because the launch just illuminates the skies. Welcome back. Take a look at this caught on camera moment. This is what was holding up the line at the Northport Starbucks this morning. If you were waiting on your venti or your latte, this guy was trying to get a pup cup. This gator was hanging out in the drive-through lane. The mayor used words like disappointing, concerning, and sad to describe today's bombshell announcement. New video shows the moments Orlando City Commissioner Regina Hill bonded out of the Orange County Jail. Just hours before,
Regina Hill.
Hill was standing before a judge to answer for the 7 charges she now faces, including multiple counts of exploitation of an elderly person and fraud.
Entered plea of not guilty on all accounts.
Attorney James Smith represented Hill today. He says Hill continues to maintain she did nothing wrong.
Obviously, the allegations against her are serious and shocking, but it's incredibly important to remember one thing. In the eyes of the law, she's presumed to be innocent.
But the Florida Department of Law Enforcement said it has found evidence that shows otherwise.
Mrs. Hill effectively betrayed the trust of her community by taking advantage of a 96-year-old elderly citizen, which is one of the most vulnerable in that community.
State investigators say they've been looking into Hill since February 2023 after receiving a tip from her former aide. Investigators say through witness interviews and a review of financial documents, they found Hill established power of attorney over a 96-year-old woman who she met in her district, allegedly bought a home with the woman listed as a co-owner without her approval, and allegedly spent over $100,000 of the victim's money on things like a facelift, a New Year's Eve vacation in Miami, and spending money on home repairs.
Hill moved into a vacant home that the victim had inherited from her family and then used the victim's personal finances to pay for renovations on that home, while the victim's primary residence where she lived remained in disrepair.
Investigators say the alleged acts date back to 2021. They say the 96-year-old woman didn't realize she had signed over financial power to Hill and didn't realize the extent of the alleged spending until she was approached during the investigation. Now, in terms of how folks are feeling here, I spoke with at least 4 business owners today, and they say they are frustrated because they have lost another day of business. When Seminole Town Center was supposed to open this morning, it didn't. Still no power. 10 a.m. rolled into 11 a.m., into noon, into 1 p.m., and on into 2 p.m. Still dark.
Nobody knows what's happening.
Small business owners like Richard Mason are in the worst kind of waiting game because dollars are on the line. His store, Dear Universe, inside the mall was forced to close for a second day.
How much do you estimate you lost in business?
Probably about $1,000 at least.
He says the business owners haven't heard from the mall's property owner.
Hi, Mike. My name is Randi Hildreth. I'm a reporter with Fox.
And our calls weren't answered or returned today either. Florida Power and Light shut the power off Thursday. They say the mall's owner was behind on bills. They wouldn't confirm by how much or if it'd been paid by late Friday, but in a statement said in part, quote, while FPL doesn't take lightly the decision to turn off anyone's power, we must treat all customers fairly, given unpaid electric bills are ultimately paid for by all our customers in the form of higher rates. Now, this isn't the first time late payments and the mall's name have shared a headline. Last summer, Seminole County said the town center owed close to $1 million in unpaid property taxes. Some business owners say they're nervous to think they may have to close over the weekend, and they're frustrated wondering what happened to the money they paid to rent their shops.
Every month, on time, I'm paying you the rent. And you give me the space, but yet I can't get into my space for now 2 days because you took our money and I don't know what you did with it, but I paid you.
City leaders say they plan to meet with the owners next week in Miami to continue discussions. Seminole County leaders also said that they plan to work with the city of Sanford to help tenants who have been impacted.
The deputy who pulled the woman over for speeding doesn't have 2 jobs. The sheriff's office says that he did put that sticker on his windshield, but he uses it to help solve crimes. The woman I spoke to says that that sticker on that windshield raises safety concerns for her.
Sherry McGuire doesn't deny she was speeding down State Road 528.
Yes, I was speeding. I admit it.
And she understands she got a ticket for breaking the law.
He gave me a ticket for going 64 in a 55.
But she was confused about the vehicle the Orange County deputy used to pull her over.
It was a Chrysler, I think like a black or dark gray Chrysler minivan, and it had a Lyft logo right in the center of the windshield. So it's like, okay, this is weird.
McGuire snapped this picture and shared it with Fox 35. Flashing patrol lights in the car's grill. And if you look closely, a Lyft sticker on the front windshield.
I was just completely shocked. I told him, I'm like, that's lying. That's deceitful. And it's not safe for the general public.
Fox 35 sent the picture to the Orange County Sheriff's Office. They confirmed it's real. We were told a deputy from its fugitive task force was working traffic details Sunday morning and stopped McGuire for speeding. They said, quote, he placed the Lyft sign in the vehicle for more of an incognito appearance in his fugitive role. But to be clear, he is not a Lyft driver. Criminal defense attorney Stacey Felter says law enforcement isn't breaking the law by pretending to work for the ride-hailing service while on duty.
They have every ability to do that and use any tools that they find that are necessary to to prevent crimes, to patrol.
Although law enforcement can, McGuire questions if they should. She says she pulled over because she saw the flashing lights, but says the lift sticker made her question if she was being stopped by a real deputy.
There's people that impersonate officers all the time, you know, and so you see it all the time in the news. So how do I know that that wasn't somebody just impersonating an officer trying to pull me over? I mean, he looked legit, but that is definitely not safe.
So ask the sheriff's office, what should someone do if they are concerned that they're not being pulled over by a real deputy? One, they say call 911. The dispatcher should be able to verify if that person is a real deputy. Two, they say drive slowly and safely to a well-lit public area. And they say number three, ask for that deputy or that officer's name and their badge number. Also for reference, I did reach out to Lyft for this story to get a statement, still waiting to hear back.